Similar to breeds of dogs and families of people, there are also plant families where plants share similarities and differences within the family. Let's take a look at some of the plants growing in our garden and see if we can find some of the similarities and differences and figure out which plant family each plant belongs to. Tomatoes, tomatillos, peppers, and more are in the nightshade plant family. As we enter the garden, we can see this tall tomato bush with some ripe tomatoes on it. Let's take a look closer at some of the leaves. The leaves of this plant are a little fuzzy, they're smaller, they have lots on one branch. This plant produces fruit in the form of tomatoes that carry the seeds of the plant. Here's a small pepper plant that never took off. This plant has smaller shiny leaves and white flowers that when they're pollinated turn into the fruit of the plant, or the peppers, which hold the seeds. This plant is in the same family as our tomato and our tomatillo. They are both in the nightshade family. Here is a tomatillo plant. Tomatillos are a type of green tomato that make green salsa. They have yellow flowers, just like on our other tomato plant, and their leaves look very similar to the leaves of our pepper plant. Tomatillos are related to the tomato and the pepper plant, and they are in the nightshade family. Kale, broccoli, cauliflower, and more are in the brassica plant family. Here's our dinosaur kale plant. You can see an animal has taken a few bites out of its leaves. But the leaves of this plant have bumps, they are waxy and tough. When you eat the leaves of this plant, the kale, it's a bit bitter. This plant is in the brassica family. Let's see what other plants in the garden are in this same plant family. We have lots of other brassicas growing in the garden. These are broccoli and cauliflower and Romanesco broccoli, all growing in the garden. They have these large, tough leaves that are waxy just like the kale plant, and they're bitter to the taste. But they are also in the brassica plant family along with the kale. Zinnias, sunflowers, daisies, and more are in the daisy plant family. This is a zinnia flower plant. You can see it produces brightly colored flowers with many petals on each flower and many flowers within each individual for pollinators to pollinate. These flowers are in the daisy family. Let's see what other plants are in the daisy family growing in the garden. Whoa, what is this tall bush? And there's a butterfly on this bush. It's a monarch. This is a Mexican sunflower plant. We can see it's being pollinated right now. And this plant produces many brightly colored flowers that also have many petals and many small flowers in the middle that are pollinated by pollinators like this monarch butterfly. This plant is also in the daisy family along with our zinnias. Pumpkins, cucumbers, melons, and squash are in the gourd plant family. Whoa, what's going on here? What kind of plant do we have? It has large leaves that are a little furry or spiky. It has yellow, large flowers. And whoa, what's that? Well, that's a green pumpkin. This is a pumpkin plant in the gourd family. Plants in the gourd family have large leaves and they have fruits that have a tough outside and hold the seeds for the plant, like the pumpkin on this plant. This is the only plant we have growing in the garden right now that's in the gourd family, but melons, cucumbers, and other squashes are also in the gourd family along with our pumpkins. We have so many other plants growing in the garden, and each one belongs to its own plant family. When you observe the plants in your garden kit and the plants around the place where you live, think about what family do those plants belong to? What similarities or differences do they have to other plants that you like to eat or grow?